You're listening to the GRCC Provost podcast.
Greetings, persons of quality. The Provost podcast is back in full force, as you know, and we've recently done a faculty profile with Gilles Renaissance, and we've recently done a student profile with Kayla Tucker, the editor-in-chief of the collegiate newspaper. I'm calling today's episode a curricular profile or portrait. I can see my guests love that. I can see it. My guests today are Professor Susan Mowers, who is the department head of English, and Professor Megan Lockard, who is a wonderful English teacher. So I've just said a little about them. I would love for each of you to just tell a little bit more about your career in the field of English professordom. I'll start with Susan.
Okay, I started teaching English, although this is technically my first paying job. I started teaching as a graduate assistant at MSU in the early 80s, let's just say. And after getting my master's degree, I came here to Grand Rapids Community College, where I started as an adjunct in 1986. And I have been here ever since. And I love it, every minute of it, teaching composition and teaching literature, but particularly composition.
And you know what? The college loves you.
Oh, thank you.
It's true. It's absolutely true. And how long have you been the English department head?
For 2 years now.
It's an awesome job, isn't it?
I love it. I love it. And I hope that they love me enough to keep me on.
We do.
I think her chances are good, Megan. So, Megan, I know you said that, but you said it of your own free will. I saw it freely come forth. Tell us a little bit about your journey in the field of English.
Yes. Well, my journey started with you, Provost Chesley.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
As an adjunct, yes. My hair was much different then.
But equally fashionable.
Why, thank you.
I'm just saying.
So that was several years ago, probably seven to eight. Mm-hmm. I adjunct here and at GVSU. And that was after completing a master's in writing at GVSU. So I adjuncted, as many adjuncts do, around the traveling saleswoman of teaching English. Mm-hmm. And then this job opened 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. And this is my dream job. This is the place I want to be. So this is really thrilling for me to be here and to be sitting with you lovely ladies.
And you know what?
What?
GRCC loves you.
Hey, thank you.
You are working on a degree right now as well, in addition to your master's. Is that true?
Correct. I realized when I got into the classroom that I didn't really know how to teach. I knew how to write, but teaching was a different animal. And so I elected to start a PhD in curriculum and instruction to give me an understanding of how people learn and how we can reach them. And it was purely for selfish reasons. I wanted to be a better teacher. Mm-hmm. I wanted to know my stuff, not just how to write, but all the things that go along with being a professor. And that will, fingers crossed, be completed before December.
And may I say, from the English department, thank you, Meg, for getting a PhD that will be useful to all of us. We appreciate you.
Thanks.
Well, the three of us were just talking about before we went on air about the fact that in the field of English, your first teaching experience, if you've never taught high school, and many of us have not, your first teaching experience is usually in graduate school. And it doesn't mean you've ever taught before. It means you teach 1 or 2 classes a semester, and it's kind of sink or swim. You know, maybe you have some help along the way. Oh, here's a sample syllabus. Here's a mentor, if we're lucky. Right. And, you know, and it's figure out what to do. And amazingly, what I found out is the same things that I liked as, you know, when I was taking the classes, the students didn't really respond to that. And I thought, whoa, What's wrong with you? That was hilarious. That was so effective. And you realize, you really have to start to figure out what you're doing. You know your content. You have to figure out how do you teach the skills.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a shocking revelation to our listeners and that's the same in many fields in arts and sciences that, your first teaching comes in your graduate training. So
it sure does. And they should refund the money of all of those students on whom I learned to teach. But I'm grateful for them and the experience.
Yeah. Oh, my students, as I said off air, I'll say it on air, they deserve their money back. I remember when I told my parents that I was going to do this for the first time, I was going to teach a class. And they said, you? So it was a big vote of confidence. But I would like to think as you look at all three of us, it just shows you what you can become as a teacher with a lot of hard work and patience and study. So here we are, and we're talking about sort of the core curriculum of the field of English, the standard freshman composition curriculum. Tell me a little bit about, Susan, where you were and what was the impetus to say it's time to do a review of this curriculum that not only every student at GRCC takes, but pretty much anywhere you go as a college student, you take freshman composition.
Right. Well, in my years here, the English composition curriculum had been revised twice. So if you do the math, that's not very often. And the first major revision, I want to say it was in the mid-90s. And then more recently, maybe 7 or 8 years after that was also revised. So it had been 15 years anyway since our curriculum had been revised. And we were given a golden opportunity to revise our curriculum when our graduation requirements changed. So no longer were both English 101 and 102 required for graduation. English 102 was now an option for completing a degree. And we didn't know how many students would exercise that option. And I am so proud of the way our department responded. We could have said, oh no, we're going to lose a lot of students. We're going to have to sacrifice a lot of faculty because we won't have as many sections or something like that. But instead, we, took the lemons and we made some great lemonade. So at the department meeting, when I asked who would like to be on the team to help re-envision how we delivered 101 and 102, knowing that really the stakes were much higher now for English 101 because that might be the only composition class a student took before graduation. And we felt they had to be prepared for their next part of their journey, their 4-year degree at their transfer institution, for their professional lives. As I asked that question, 8 hands shot up right away saying, yeah, we'll do this work. And this has been just the most dedicated, intelligent, and fun group who have at their heart a student's best interests in terms of what that student needs to learn in order to be successful after he or she leaves GRCC. And now I've talked so long, did I go off track?
You're doing good because the really cool thing is like Noah, he makes us sound brilliant when it's over. Awesome. He can edit. It's like editing the paper. He edits the podcast.
You see, if I'd known that to begin with, I would have been much less nervous.
It's awesome. You can't believe some of the things I've said on this broadcast. Okay.
Let's see what we can get away with.
Yeah, really. What can we get?
So you did great. So I heard you say we took this opportunity, and it had to be a disappointment.
Yes.
When the graduation requirements
Indeed
changed.
It was. Uh-huh.
We all love our discipline.
Yes, we do. We do.
But you really did say, well, we need to rethink this now because many students will only have the one class.
That's right.
So can you think offhand who were the 8 people? We'll get them on the
I was practicing on the way over.
All right.
Meg Lockard, sitting here next to me, Katie Collish. And those are the two who also immediately stepped forward and said, we can co-lead this team, which they have done beautifully. Morsalata Muhammad, Nora Neal, Marianne Lacerte, Kelly Roblin, Rachel Lutwick-Diener, and Tony Dykema Vander Ark, and I. And
That is a dream team.
it is. It's
been amazing.
Absolutely.
Meg, let's get you in here now.
Sure.
How is 101 different
Great question.
from what it was?
Yes. 101 was more of, or currently is, more of a personalized approach to writing where you start with the personal and then you move on towards the objective. And it's our curriculum before now was process approach based. So as instructors, we teach the process of writing. First you do this, and then you do this. 101 has, like Susan said, kind of upped the ante, because if students take only this one course, we need to know that they are prepared with extra skills like using sources and evaluating them. So 101 is now this very all-encompassing course where we bring in the research that it didn't have before. But we also focus more on audience and different sorts of rhetorical situations. So we recognize the need for our students to be flexible writers, and we want them to see the writing that they do in their lives and in their other courses and in their professions. Not just English 101, this is how you write an essay, but English 101, this will help prepare you to be a flexible writer for all these different situations. So we've kind of stepped back from essay writing. It's still a component of the new 101, but they're also doing professional writing and civic/community writing as well. So we're emphasizing audience, and we're saying, you are already a writer. You make very strategic moves in the writing that you do. Let us help you be better readers and thinkers and analyzers so that the moves you make are even more well-informed, and you can kind of go from situation to situation and be successful because you know what questions to ask. Like, who am I writing to? What is my purpose? And what moves do I have at my disposal? So 101 is now this sort of exploration as opposed to just this academic thing. We've kept the process component. We think that's valuable. There are things that you do to build up to good writing. But we also recognize, and I think the field in general recognizes, that we're now in this post-process world or processes world, and we recognize that writing is messy and sometimes really ugly, and it's recursive. So you take these steps, and then sometimes you have to go backwards and start again, and then you go in these different directions, and somehow you make it all come together in the end. So the process approach is still there, but it's not the focus, and it's just a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah. Can I just add, too,
Yeah.
that I think two of the things that drove some of these decisions were what we found in our research. All of the choices that we have made are supported with research. And also, of course, all the benchmarking with transfer institutions, but also talking to all of our colleagues in all of the disciplines in the School of Arts and Sciences and in workforce development, asking them at the outset, what kind of writing do your students do? What kinds of skills do they need to succeed in your discipline? And so transfer became one of our buzzwords, and not meaning just transfer to a four-year institution, but the transfer of skills, as Meg was saying, from one kind of writing situation to another. So writing isn't just for English. Writing is also now, these are skills I can use in my history class, or these are skills I can use when I apply for a job. So transferability, I think, is a big part too of our new curriculum.
I was joking. Neither of you were joking about this before we started, but how far back I go in this field of teaching writing, I go all the way back to the days of the for all of our fans out there, the Aristotelian modes of rhetoric, comparison, contrast, classification, and a very product approach.
Yes.
Most of my career is spent in the process-oriented world. And honestly, really none of my career as a teacher in the post-process world. But I do know it's out there because I, occasionally talk with good folks like you, and Katie Kalish always is talking to me, or Nora Neal, about the moves that writers make. So this seems to me to be a new phrase. And I have to ask, as an older person, what's wrong with techniques or strategies? How is a move different? Or is it just a lot cooler word?
Yeah, I don't know if it is different, really.
I think it sounds way more cool.
Definitely sounds hipster.
I'm seriously asking, does that term have a more specific meaning now? Because I know it's become popular in the literature.
I want to say, I might be wrong, Meg, you correct me, that move to me suggests sort of a host of skills or approaches. When I think of strategies like pre-writing, I see, 10 different activities that don't really overlap. I think when I think about a move, that embraces more than just a sort of step by step leading you inevitably to the conclusion you wish to reach.
Yeah, the strategy I think of is very discrete.
Yes.
As you looked at Re-envisioning 101, and I love that, how you said it, not just as a transfer course for those who are headed on to a university degree, but as a course where the transferability of skills will take you to further education or to a job or to an array of life situations. How and has English 102 changed?
Yes, it has changed. It's still, I think, even in the minds of us on the committee, is still kind of this big animal. And we'll sort of have to see what happens next year when we teach it. But it has really become like reading and research infused. We want students who take this course to come out feeling like they not just know how to identify strong sources or how to use these sources, but how their thinking and writing is shaped by other people's ideas. That is pretty, I don't know, aggressive, not aggressive, but hopeful maybe?
Ambitious?
Ambitious. It's ambitious research. It's very ambitious, but we think that students who take that class will just excel in whatever they do beyond that. I can imagine the students who are transferring and have our 102 will not be intimidated by another essay or another research requirement ever. It was difficult in the beginning for us to envision, all right, if 101 is including all of these things, then what does 102 become, and how do we make it necessary? And we feel like, especially in today's climate, students need to know how to read what they see, how to assess what that means, whether it's true or not. We have to make these sorts of analyses sort of on the spot. And we want our students to be able to do that, but also to take all these different voices and to do something with them, something that shapes their own thinking, not just their writing and their papers.
And to do something new with them,
Yes.
not just here's what everyone else thinks, but as Meg was saying, here's how this shapes my own ideas. Here's how it makes me think and what it makes me consider now. And I look at one of the goals as 102 to really produce writers, and all writers are thinkers, but are deep thinkers, writers maybe whose first go-to in answering a question is, let's see what others also have to say about this. So I don't just have to do a knee-jerk response, standing in a store about, which flat screen am I going to buy? I'm going to do research. There's a practical application for 102. Or I'm not, I can approach any writing task in any of my disciplines because I understand where and how to do research.
Right. And I think one of the values in the new curriculum is the fact that we're not tied to the research essay or an academic essay as the final product. It's like the ultimate piece of writing. So the research that people are doing or the questions that they're asking could take many different forms. I won't say modes.
No.
Forms. No, there's no modes here.
No.
So it might end up as a research essay. It might end up as somebody's website or blog post or podcast. The doors are sort of opened now for those other types of writing.
Research is a key part of 102. Research in its various forms, which I think it's then how appropriate. Who would have thought that the English teachers on the team took a research-based approach in its varied forms to revise the curriculum? I mean, so you're telling me, I talked to my colleagues in various departments about what they needed. I read the most recent research from scholars of composition and rhetoric. We asked our colleagues at our major transfer institutions, what are you looking for? What do you do? So I think that's awesome. I mean, in my head, an administrator head, this is like a model curricular review process.
Thank you.
You're the model, not the mode. The model.
That's wonderful.
We're complimented by that.
But mode in the sense of fashion.
A la mode.
This process was très a la mode. Very fashionable. You also, it sounds like, sort of took your own look as a department at sort of the cultural, we're just so French today, the cultural milieu. And you're certainly not the only ones who've been observing our milieu and saying, wow, we need to make sure that young people have some skills in evaluating what they hear and what they read. You know, one of the things that I find most troubling about political discourse, and I will not be partisan here, it's utter debasement into something that is really, seems more focused often on obfuscation than on clarification. So we see, you know, case in point, not only accusations of fake news and real fake news, you know, news that is real fake news and news that is fake news. You know, exchanges between officials and journalists that are hostile, that are not about getting to the truth, but that are a lengthy series of interruptions, essentially trying to muddy points that people are making.
And how great, then, that our students might feel equal to the task of sorting that out, that not everything I hear on TV, on a news station, is perhaps well-researched or entirely accurate. I think that they will be much more inclined toward questioning, which I think is it's healthy, and not just accepting at face value what someone who appears to be an authority has said.
Absolutely.
And it occurs to me because it used to be that the fake news was my biggest, but now it's watching people essentially arguing with the intent to misrepresent each other and to obfuscate. So, you know, having the ability to say, when I see somebody doing this, and they're doing these kinds of moves or strategies or techniques, what might that say about the truthfulness of what they're saying? Now I want to take the class.
Yes.
You should. It's going to be great.
That'd be awesome. You had this dream team of 8, the Elite 8, let's call it, because I'm all basketball now. Okay, so the Elite
this is our
8.
bracket.
Did you get that, Noah? How did you involve the rest of the department in the conversation?
Oh, yes. We tried to maintain communication throughout, asking for advice, asking questions, just giving little snippets here and there. But then we also realized as we started getting into these changes that some of the things we're asking are pretty big and require people who've been teaching for a long time to change very major things about what they do. So one of the things we did this year was We use 2 different days of training, one in the fall and one in the winter. And we gave kind of breakout sessions. So we would have facilitators, and each room would address a different change in the curriculum or a different concept that we thought would be beneficial to them. And faculty would come in, eat a big breakfast, and then move from room to room. And we wanted them to be very workshoppy, so less lecture and more, let's get our hands dirty and see what this might look like in a classroom. And that, I think, worked really well. At least we got a lot of great feedback. We even had some people doing it twice, even though they weren't asked to, because they said that was really helpful. I need to go back and just let these ideas kind of come in. Yeah. So I was really excited about how those turned out. And I think a lot of people were as well.
That was terrific.
We've also been including adjuncts in the discussion, especially as it surrounds textbook choices and these major things, because they carry a lot of the weight of our department. And then next year, we have these groups that are about to go into place. We're calling them faculty inquiry groups. So we'll meet smallish sort of numbers for things like brainstorming and accountability and some assessment, is this working? This is a new thing in the curriculum. What do we think? And so it's, I think, going to be very well supported as we move forward. And then we have ideas for beyond that, sort of inviting faculty to showcase what they do in the new curriculum and how well it works and things like that.
So you've been working on this for a while, over a year.
Yes.
But the official launch is this fall.
Yes, it is.
Correct.
And faculty inquiry groups for the English department. Could other faculty join those inquiry groups? Would that?
You're blowing our mind right now.
Oh, we're just, you should have seen our mouths drop open at that idea.
That would be so cool.
That is
Well, if you want to say no, we can cut this out.
Wonderful.
You just cut out the whole question.
No.
I know you don't.
That
I'm
is
kidding.
So, in
I
fact,
think
how
that'd be
useful
great.
that might be as our other colleagues' input was into our shaping
Yes.
of the curriculum.
I'm just saying there.
Wow.
So you heard it here.
Yes.
It's in the book.
Megan and Susan would be willing to have people join faculty inquiry groups around the teaching of composition.
FPE.
Absolutely.
That's all. Can we just say FPE?
I did not bring up that acronym.
And if they
Let
need
it be
some
noted.
hours, they
But
can
It might be
join us.
professional development.
Correct.
And I think they're genuinely, well, I guess the associate deans get to say, but let's just say, I think it'd be highly likely that would count for professional development.
I think it'd be so great to know how our students are doing in their
Absolutely.
classes.
That would just be
Is this
wonderful.
transfer thing actually working?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because there are, in all seriousness, a lot of faculty not in English who care deeply about how students write.
yes.
We know this is true.
Yes, we do.
So they could call you, and maybe you could get them linked up.
We could absolutely do that. We'll have many different groups. We are envisioning limiting them to probably 15, and there will be 2 separate. You'll have a cohort for fall and then a cohort for winter. So you'll have that kind of continuity, but also that kind of variety.
Is there something you wish that I had asked you about the new composition curriculum?
I can't think of anything except I would want everyone to know about this curriculum in terms of transfer. And now I am talking about transfer to four-year institutions. We're gold. We're gold in terms of transfer. We have schools like U of M who are on board with accepting our English 102 credits in fulfillment of their requirements, and our 5 closest transfer partners as well, which tells us, I think, which affirms for us that the research that we did and the curriculum we put together based on that research is equal to any you would find at a 4-year college or university. And I know that that's what we do here at GRCC. So I think we're pretty proud of that.
Yes. And U of M wasn't accepting ours before the changes, right?
But they do now.
They will. Yes.
Go blue. Go blue. Susan, cats or dogs?
Dogs, even though I own a 19-year-old cat. I know.
Neither. I have children. They eat off the floor. I can't have animals. No.
Okay. 19-year-old kitty?
And a half, yes.
Wow.
Oh, and she's dear. I mean,
Okay. Cat's name?
Tabby. Named by my then, 10-year-old.
Tabby. Darling. Well, you're, Megan.
I'm
No,
very
that's good.
unhelpful.
That's good. You're the one who's got real adult responsibilities at home still. Susan and I, we don't. So. Thank you very much for coming to chat with me. It's always a pleasure to see you both, and I think this is great information for our faculty. And I think it's great for all of our faculty to know, I found it to be so, how willing you are as a department to collaborate with your colleagues and to listen to concerns, ideas, insights, and take them very, very seriously. So I appreciate that openness to collaboration, which to me is really a hallmark of your department.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us, Lori.
You're
it was
welcome.
A pleasure to
Thank
talk
you
about.
very
Come back and do it again.
Sounds good.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, it'll be all stories of teaching the modes.
Yes.
Megan won't. We'll get somebody else.
Yeah,
who
I'm
actually-
sorry, I can't
all
help.
right.
Someone over 40 at least.
So thank you. We'll get some more senior faculty, but all the faculty, senior and junior, should please remember that you are the much appreciated, highly valued colleagues of a very happy provost. Boom.
You've been listening to the GRCC Provost Podcast, produced by GRCC Media Technologies. Join us next episode for more Provost.